Hey guys, how's it going? It's pretty late for me right now, but I felt motivated to get on here and make a video for the first time in a while for assorted reasons. Last videos I made were during the draft, and since then, when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks that I rep, it's gotten worse, guys. Nothing's gotten better, everything's gotten worse. And I got to go over the two big things that have happened over the last few weeks. Um, the first thing happened couple weeks ago. I almost made a video after that, but I was kind of sad. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't have a ton to say, I didn't think, but now that things are starting to add up, you may as well make a video because this offseason is a bottomless pit. Whether you just love these guys or if you thought that they could help us win a lot of games for the next year or two, or whatever it may be, whether your connection to them was, you know, purely about getting wins or just because you like these guys because they repped us for so long, it's been a bottomless pit, and let's run it down, guys. First of all, this one is kind of, cut and dry. Kam Chancellor failed his physical. He will not be playing football ever again. He is, for all intents and purposes, retired from the NFL. So that's another one down, another piece that we had for many of the last several years. We're not going to have him next year. Not surprising, obviously. We all knew that the injury he sustained was severe and significant and was very likely to be something that lingered on into the future. So this is not a surprise. It should not be a surprise to anybody. It's sad. He was one of the best players on this team ever since, he took over the starting role in, I want to say 2011. I got nothing but positive things to say about Cam. I mean, he did that stupid holdout thing in 2015 where he had like 3 years left on his contract and he suddenly decided he wanted a new contract. That was bullshit. That made me and a lot of Seahawks fans very unhappy with him for maybe a month or two. But, we're talking about a guy who had a very weird skill set for a safety. A lot of teams would not have even tried to play him at safety because to them, he just had too many holes in his game. But he worked really, really hard at maximizing the things he was really good at and minimizing the things that he wasn't so good at. He went to Pro Bowls. I think he made the All-Pro team, I want to say twice. He made some big plays for us when we went on our Super Bowl winning run. He made big plays when we went to our second Super Bowl the year after. We won a lot of playoff games with Cam. He was on the short list of players who could have been Super Bowl MVP. There's not a lot you can say about Cam other than he was the penultimate Seahawk, kind of. There were players on this team over the last 5, 6 years who were better than Cam, more valuable than Cam, but Cam really summed things up beautifully. And because he sustained a career-ending injury, he is going to be paid like $11 million over the next 2 years, which, it's obviously a disadvantage, but the way things ended with Cam and what he did for us, I can barely even bother to get upset about that. Give him his money. He earned it. He was out there trying to make a play for his team. That's how he got hurt. That's why his career is over. He was trying to make a tackle and things didn't go quite the way they needed to, and now he's done. So I'm not even really thinking about the salary cap ramifications there. I'm just thinking about Cam the player. And if you did not believe that era of Seahawks football is really, really coming to an end, the retirement of a guy like Kam Chancellor really hammers it home. So he didn't play long enough to make the Hall of Fame or anything, but I am sure he will be a Ring of Honor member. I'd love to have him back as a head coach at some point. Well, not a head coach, but a position coach at some point. But nothing but warm and, depressed a mixture of those two feelings about Cam, but it's all love. So that was the first thing. That was the first thing. I almost made a video about just that because it was a big deal, but I couldn't do it. I mean, it was the latest in a long line of things that are sad about this offseason, but the thing that I saw it today when I was at work, and I was really thinking about it for the rest of the day, and it really motivated me to actually go ahead and make this video. Our other superstar safety is out there making it clear, to me anyway, that he does not like it here anymore. So I'm going to talk about this because we kind of knew this might be coming. We all knew it was very realistic that this could happen, but Earl Thomas, at the end of the season last year, already made it clear that he was interested in going to the Dallas Cowboys, which, not surprising at all. He's wanted to go to the Cowboys since he entered the NFL. And honestly, he would have been a Cowboy for probably like 4 years ago, if not for the fact that the Seahawks were so good 4 years ago that he realized he would have to be a moron to leave this core. So he stayed. And now that it's become clear that this team is not going to be very successful for the next year or two, or at the very least, nothing's going to come easy for this team, he wants out. And, there's a little bit of front running there. It's become a little more clear now that he was only here because he could win and be part of a historically great defense. It wasn't out of love for the area. It wasn't out of love for the logo or the jersey or the stadium or, Paul Allen or none of that. It is becoming pretty clear to me that he was here because he realized I can win a Super Bowl with these guys, and he did. And I love him for it, and I always will ultimately. But the fact that he immediately wants to do everything he can to get out and go to the Cowboys, a team that, by the way, not that good, that kind of tells me everything I need to know about where his loyalties ultimately lay. Now, I'm not saying that I dislike Earl now. I'm not going to go that far, that's for sure. But something happened today that really changed my mindset on this whole Earl Thomas thing, because a few weeks ago we learned that he was going to hold out until he got a contract extension. He wanted either to get a bunch of money or he wanted to get traded, which, guys, I understand that part of it. Earl has a couple good years left. Maybe he only has one good year left. Maybe he doesn't have any good years left. I don't know. I think he has a couple good years left. I really do. And he does not want to spend those years on a team that's going to be going through a minor rebuild. I get that, guys. This Seahawks team, it's not pretty right now. There are a lot of things that look really thin going into 2018. And for a guy like Earl to say, I want to give myself a chance at making another run at a deep playoff push, I get that. And to go to the team that I rooted for when I was a kid, the team that I followed my whole life before I entered the pros, I'm not gonna hate on him for that. It's just today we already knew about the holdout, which whatever. We already knew about the fact that he kind of wanted to get traded. Da 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 da. We knew that he had 1 year left on his deal and that he was insisting he was going to hold out until he got what he wanted. Da 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 da. Today, we got another little update that really changed my perspective. He apparently went to Mark Davis. I think his name is Mark Davis of the Oakland Raiders, and asked him, "Come get me." Just like he went to Jason Garrett and said, "Try to come get me." After the Week 16 game where we beat the Cowboys, he went to Jason Garrett, said, "Come get me." Now he's going to the owner of the Oakland Raiders, apparently, and asking for the same thing. So the Cowboys are one thing. The Raiders, yeah, today made me realize that Earl either wants to get overpaid to an absurd degree to where he doesn't really care about whether or not he's on a winning team, or he just wants out. He doesn't want to be here anymore. Maybe he doesn't like Russell Wilson. Maybe he's sick of Pete Carroll. Maybe he's sick of, Paul Allen. Maybe he's sick of Seattle, the stadium. I don't know, but after I heard about that Oakland rumor, assuming it's true, it really hammered home in my head. This guy just doesn't want to be here. I mean, Oakland, they have a terrible defense. They have a couple good players, but their defense is terrible. We all know that. They don't have any big time Super Bowl aspirations. He doesn't have any connection to that area. He grew up in Texas. He didn't grow up in Oakland. And now all I can say is that he just wants to be somewhere else. It's not fun. It's not exciting to be here anymore. He doesn't want to be here with Wilson and Carroll. He wants to, you know, preferably play in Texas, but he'll play with Marshawn Lynch in Oakland apparently. And this kind of made me a little frustrated with Earl. I laid off him after the Cowboys incident, which a lot of people didn't. A lot of people really didn't like that. I was kind of okay with it. I understood. I was trying to understand the way the NFL works. I was trying to understand Earl's position. But hearing the Oakland thing today just kind of pissed me off because it really hammered home the fact that now that we're not going to be a playoff team in all likelihood this next year, he just wants to go somewhere else. Like to him, this team, it almost feels like he views the Seahawks jersey as like a plague that he needs to get off of him now. He just wants to go somewhere else. So before today, my game plan with Earl would have been hold strong, don't give him shit, and he'll eventually report. He'll show up to the games, he'll play in the games, he'll give it all, and then at the end of the season, he can go to the Cowboys and do whatever the hell he wants. We'll get a compensation pick, and I'll be happy. We got another good year out of Earl Thomas. Maybe we'll be a decent team, maybe we won't be, but I want that other year of Earl Thomas. I didn't want to trade him, but now, the more and more I see his mentality, Earl's just an asset now, as far as I'm concerned. And we got to use that asset the best way that we can. So, Dallas, Oakland, any team out there, any of the 31 teams out there, come make your offers. I'm ready to part ways with Earl Thomas. Only if it helps our rebuild. I'm not going to take some shitty third round pick. I don't want a fucking third round pick for the second best player who ever played for the Seahawks and still an elite safety with a couple years left, probably. If all we can get for him is a third round pick, I'd rather let him sit at home for the whole rest of the year, and then we can come back next year and do this shit again. I'm not giving away the second best player in Seahawks history for nothing, but if a team wants to offer up a second round pick or more, I think it's time to start listening, guys. Like before, the Seahawks philosophy seemed to be give us 2 first round picks or we are not taking your call. And I agreed with that because it was basically a way of saying we're not trading him, fuck off. I can't feel that way anymore. I think it's time to look to the future. And Earl Thomas, the assets that we get for him can be part of the quick rebuild we need to do. We can get, a first round pick maybe. I don't know. I think a team would be stupid to do it, but teams are stupid all the time. I certainly believe we should get a second round pick pretty easily, though. That shit actually matters. That shit has value. He's an asset now. Send him to Cleveland for all I care, man. He wants to treat the NFL like a business, which it is, that can cut both ways. So I thought this was going to hurt a little more than it did, but after today, I'm ready. He wants out. Let's give him every opportunity to get out. And if he doesn't have trade value because he was too vocal about the fact that he wants out, then that's his own stupid fault. He can stick it out here for another year, or he can hold out for the rest of his life, whatever. It really sucks that this had to happen after the draft. I mean, before the draft, at least we could have gotten immediate assets that we could have immediately translated into young, good players. The fact that we now have to settle for a pick in next year's draft has me like, okay, you're going to have to impress me, but I'm ready. And at the end of the day, whatever happens at this point, it's not okay. We have been handed some pretty clear evidence that Earl does not want to be here anymore. Whatever happens from here on out, that is still the case, and that sucks. And, there's a door that we can open that involves trading the second best player who ever played as a Seahawk, or third best, or whatever, for, draft capital. So whatever we do, it doesn't feel good, but I'm trying to be realistic now, guys. I was holding out hope for this 2018 season. I really thought maybe we can win 9 or 10 games. Maybe we can get a wild card, but the more I think about it, the more I see what the Rams are doing in Los Angeles, the more I look at our roster, it is going to be an off year. It's tough to get away from it, guys. I mean, we thought last year was bad, and last year was inexcusable on so many different fronts, but I don't think we've seen anything yet. And the biggest problem might be the fact that we cannot tank. We cannot tank. We have too good a quarterback. I don't believe we can go 2-14 with Wilson. So it really traps us in this weird limbo spot. And I'll make another video in the near future, I think, about what I think this 2018 Seahawks team needs to do. But this video is just about that. Kam is gone. Earl wants to be gone. And to that I say, everyone line up. What do you got? What can you give us for Earl? Let's make a deal. See you guys later.